Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness just came out, and it was wild. After seeing it, I decided it was time to make another MCU Life Up video, this time for Dr. Stephen Strange. I'll be going over his entire character arc, which spans over a ton of movies, some tie-in comics that were made to be part of the films, and some stuff that writers and directors who worked on the films have said. Putting all of that together, I'll explain Doctor Strange's entire MCU timeline. And just to be clear, I'm covering the Stephen Strange from Earth 616, not any alternate versions of him. Obviously, there are going to be spoilers, so you have been warned. Now, let's get the video started. Stephen Strange was born and raised in New York City, and right away, it was clear he was a genius, having an amazing photographic memory. Stephen had a younger sister named Donna, and tragically, he watched her drown when they were just kids. He was unable to save her, and his failure to do so made him realize what his calling was: to save lives as a doctor. That became his new calling. Stephen went to medical school at Columbia University and graduated with his MD and PhD at the exact same time. His genius IQ and photographic memory made him graduate top of his class. Strange eventually focused his career to become a neurosurgeon, and he became the best in the business, working at Metro General Hospital in New York. Along the way, Stephen met a fellow surgeon named Christine Palmer, and the two hit it off right away. The two successfully invented a laminectomy procedure, showing just how great of a team they were. They eventually started dating, and one night, Stephen took Christine out to a very expensive restaurant, and during dinner, she gifted him a brand new watch, which would become one of his most prized possessions. Unfortunately, their relationship did not last due to Strange's arrogance and focus on his career. The two did continue to work with each other and remain good friends though. In the tie-in comics, we learn that Stephen was actually in New York when Loki tried to take over in 2012. He was performing a surgery at the hospital about 20 blocks from the New York Sanctum at the time. In the 2014 film Captain America: The Winter Soldier, there was an Easter egg that said Strange's name.
Bruce Banner, Stephen Strange, anyone who's a threat.
This is actually huge because it tells us that Hydra was looking into Stephen as a potential threat before he even had his powers. And had their plan in that film been carried out, Hydra would have killed Stephen that day. Luckily though, Captain America and company put a stop to this before they could. Strange showed just how skilled of a surgeon he was when he saved what other doctors claimed to be a dead man, successfully taking the bullet he had in his head out. Afterwards, he and Christine began to talk about their past, and this conversation made it even more clear why they didn't work out, as Strange showed just how selfish he really was.
We had fun together.
No, you had fun. They weren't about us, they were about you.
Not only about me.
Stephen, everything is about you.
That night, Stephen got ready for a dinner party and put the watch that Christine had given him on. On his way there, however, his life changed forever. He got distracted and his car flipped and tumbled down a mountain and into the water. He was rushed to his own hospital at Metro General and he underwent surgery that lasted 11 hours. They were able to save his life, but his hands were crushed beyond repair, causing severe and permanent nerve damage. Because of this, he could no longer be a neurosurgeon. When he woke up, Christine was there and she explained the bad news to him. When Strange questioned the doctors that worked on him, Christine said that no doctor could have done better, but Strange turned to her and said that he could have.
I could have done better.
Over the next few months, Strange healed Christine by his side for the whole process, but Strange became impatient and told the doctors that they had ruined him.
Give your body time to heal.
You've ruined me.
He decided to go into an experimental surgery hoping that would fix him, but unfortunately, like everything else, it didn't. When another doctor turned him down, Stephen threw his laptop across the room, and just as he did, Christine walked in. After she tried to help him, he yelled at her and belittled her, and Christine said goodbye and walked out of his life.
Goodbye, Stephen.
Strange eventually tracked down a patient he had heard about who had a miraculous recovery, and he sent him to find Carmartage. When Stephen was looking, however, some thugs cornered him and asked him for the watch that Christine had given him. He refused and was jumped, but luckily Carl Mordo rescued him. Unluckily though, his watch had been shattered in the process. Mordo took Stephen to Carmartage and told him to forget everything he thought he knew. When Strange met the Ancient One, he was reluctant at first, but he had a new outlook when she knocked his astral form out of his body, giving Stephen his first experience of the astral dimension. Seeing his reluctance though, she kicked him out, but he refused to leave their doorstep, eventually forcing them to allow him back in. Here Strange began his training of the mystic arts.
Teach me.
One day Stephen went to the library to study up, where he met Wong for the first time. Strange struggled to open portals with the direction of Mordo, but he was forced to do so when the Ancient One left him on Mount Everest to die unless he could do it, and this made him open up his first portal to make it back. That was the breakthrough he needed, and Strange did not look back. He used his insane brain power and his photographic memory and became a master of the mystic arts just as he had mastered becoming the world's best neurosurgeon. Stephen also emailed Christine whenever he could, trying to repair their friendship he had so badly damaged, but she never answered. The Ancient One eventually showed him the mirror dimension for the first time, but later on, he raised suspicions about her to Mordo.
You follow her even though you don't know?
After 9 months of training, Strange decided to use the Eye of Agamotto, which housed one of the Infinity Stones, more specifically the Time Stone. He was immediately stopped by Mordo and Wong though, both of whom explained the severity of his actions. The two then told Strange how their duty as sorcerers was to protect the world of the mystical threats, much like the Avengers protect against physical threats. This eventually led them to discussing Dormammu, who came from the Dark Dimension and who sought to rule over the entire multiverse. At that moment though, Caecilius attacked, and during the fight, Strange was sent through a portal that took him to the New York Sanctum. Here he found the Cloak of Levitation, which seemed to acknowledge him. While there, Stephen watched Caecilius murder the Guardian of the Sanctum, and seeing that Caecilius wanted to bring Dormammu forth, he successfully fought them off with the help of the Cloak of Levitation. However, he overlooked a small detail that led to him being stabbed and chased as he crawled away, but the cloak again saved him, allowing Strange to open a portal to Metro General Hospital. There he found Christine, who started to operate on him. As she did, he entered the astral dimension to help her save his life. However, he was attacked by one of Caecilius' men, but luckily, Christine hitting him with high voltage killed his opponent and brought Strange back to life. He and Christine then had a heart-to-heart where he apologized for everything he did to her. He then showed her that her powers were real as he went back to the New York Sanctum through a portal. There, the Cloak of Levitation chose him and he took it on as his own, which shocked both Mordo and the Ancient One. Strange then exposed the Ancient One, saying that she used dark matter to stay alive.
She draws power from the dark dimension to stay alive.
Shortly after that, Caecilius returned and they all fought in the mirror dimension, a fight that eventually led to the Ancient One being knocked off a building. Stephen again went to Metro General, this time asking Christine to save the Ancient One. It was no use though, and before she passed, she talked to Strange in the astral dimension. There she made Stephen realize how his arrogance was his weakness.
Arrogance and fear still keep you from learning the simplest and most significant lesson of all.
Which is?
It's not about you.
She then told Stephen how to save his hands with magic, but said he couldn't go back to his old life because the world needed the Sorcerer Strange, not the Surgeon Strange. She then left Stephen as her physical form died. Afterwards, Stephen told Christine that he had to leave, but before he did, she made him realize that there were other ways to save lives other than being a doctor. The two then shared a romantic moment where they kissed, and then Strange left. He then recruited Mordo to come with him to defend the Sanctum in Hong Kong, and when they arrived on scene, they saw Dormammu coming. Strange used the Eye of Agamotto though, and he reversed all the damage that had been done. Doctor Strange then went to face Dormammu, and he created a time loop, meaning no matter how many times he was killed, he would always come back to bargain, and as long as these two stayed in this loop, Earth remained safe. A frustrated Dormammu finally agreed to make a deal and said he would leave Earth forever, taking all of his minions, including Caecilius. Though they won, afterwards, Mordo was not pleased with his methods, and he soon went on a vendetta to rid the world of sorcerers.
Too many sorcerers.
As we find out in the new movie, the two were at odds on Earth 616, Strange saying that Mordo had dedicated his life to trying to kill him. So though we didn't see it, Mordo apparently made at least a few attempts to take Strange's life. Stephen decided to return the Eye of Agamotto, and he and Wong agreed that they were ready for any challenge that came their way.
We must be ready.
We'll be ready.
Stephen became the protector of the New York Sanctum as the last protector had been killed, and as he looked out the window, he put on the watch Christine had given him. In the tie-in comics, we saw a whole comic dedicated to Strange. Stephen was meditating in the New York Sanctum when he was interrupted by Wong. The two then walked through the Sanctum and discussed the different Infinity Stones, which included the Time Stone and the Eye of Agamotto. They were interrupted, however, when they were alerted that Thor and Loki showed up on Earth. They both agreed that Loki was a threat, so Strange locked him in a free-falling loop while he gave Thor his address at the Sanctum. When Thor arrived, he asked Thor why he brought Loki there, and finding out they would leave once they found their father Odin, reason, he said he would help Thor, and he sent the two brothers to Norway where their father was. Afterwards, Strange rejoined Wong and they discussed the final Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone, which Wong said might be the most dangerous of them all. Strange said that as long as no one gets all of the stones they were fine, and Wong agreed, but added that if someone did, they would need to prepare for the greatest battle this universe had ever seen. Around this time, Strange attended a full moon party at Kamar-Taj, which led to him casting the Runes of Kafka spell, making all sorcerers forget that party except him.
That spell travels the dark borders between known and unknown reality. It's too dangerous.
We've used it for a lot less. Do you remember the full moon party at Kamar-Taj?
No.
Exactly.
One day when Strange was headed to the deli with Wong, the Hulk, aka Bruce Banner, crashed through the sanctum window and warned them that Thanos was coming.
Thanos is coming. He's coming.
After this, Strange went to Central Park to recruit Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. He later told them all about the Infinity Stones, but they were interrupted when Ebony Maw and Cole Obsidian arrived in New York. Strange fought beside Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Banner, but he was overpowered by Maw and beamed up to his ship. There, Maw tortured him, trying to get the Time Stone off of Steven's neck, but he refused to give it up. Spider-Man and Iron Man then killed Maw by sending him into space and saved Strange's life. They all eventually crash-landed on the planet Titan, and there they met most of the Guardians of the Galaxy. While the others all planned, Doctor Strange went forward in time, looking at 14,605 outcomes of the coming conflict, and he told the others that they only won in one of those scenarios. They all planned for when Thanos would come, and Strange was the one who met him. The two discussed ideologies, but it was all a distraction so the others could attack. They were very close to getting the Infinity Gauntlet off, but before they could, Star-Lord got angry and ruined their plan. Eventually, after Tony had been stabbed and everyone else knocked out of the fight, Strange willingly gave Thanos the Time Stone. This was all part of the plan though, which only he knew, as he had seen the one outcome where they could win, and this was how it had to be done.
There was no other way.
Thanos got all of the Infinity Stones, and snapping his fingers, he wiped out half the universe, including Doctor Strange. After 5 years of being gone, the remaining Avengers were able to collect all the stones and undo what Thanos had done, bringing Strange and everybody else back. He told Peter and the Guardians on Titan what had happened and said they had to go to the fight. With the help of other sorcerers like Wong, Strange brought every hero to the battlefield where Thanos was, and a huge battle commenced. So far, everything had gone according to plan as he had seen it in the future, and when it came down to it, Strange looked at Tony and put up one finger, giving Tony the clue that this was it. This was how it had to go. Tony got the stones from Thanos, and he wiped him, his army, and all of his ships out, but he died in the process, which Strange of course knew would happen. After he passed, Strange and everybody else knelt down, paying respect to their fallen friend. Strange also attended Tony's funeral, where once again, he and everybody else honored this fallen soldier. Afterward, Strange, now back after being gone for 5 years, returned to living in the New York Sanctum. To his disappointment, he discovered that while he was gone, Wong had taken over the title of Sorcerer Supreme, which he felt he deserved.
No, he got it on a technicality because I blipped for 5 years.
Not long after that, a blizzard in Siberia came through the Rotunda gateways and filled the sanctum with snow, which Strange blamed Wong for.
Because someone forgot to cast the monthly maintenance spell to keep the seals tight.
One day, Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, showed up at his doorstep, and he asked Strange if he could use the Time Stone to make it so Mysterio never revealed his identity.
I don't have the Time Stone anymore.
Steven said he couldn't do that, but said he could cast a spell to make everyone forget that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. While doing the spell though, Peter changed it a few times, and this messed Steven up, making it get out of control. Strange just barely contained it, but unbeknownst to him, he had opened a gate to other Earths. Strange soon realized what had happened, and he was able to capture the lizard from the sewers, who was actually Dr. Connor from another Earth. He then brought Peter and Doc Ock to him, and he sent Peter off to find more breaches. But before he could, Peter insisted on bringing Ned and MJ to help him. Strange agreed, but got very annoyed with both of them, especially when Ned started saying he might be magic.
How did you know you were made of magic? Because my Nana says that we have it in our family, and sometimes I get these tinglings in my hands.
You should talk to your physician.
And when MJ just straight up called him out.
You're telling us what to do, even though it was your spell that got screwed up, meaning that all this is kind of your mess.
While they went to get 3 more people from other Earths, Strange put something together that would send them all back. However, before he could use it, Peter took it from him, not wanting to send all of these people to their deaths on their Earth. Strange knocked Peter out of his physical body, but he was in shock when Peter could still control his arms and could actually make it back into his body, which Strange had never seen before. He then took Peter to the mirror dimension and embarrassingly lost as Peter used geometry to beat Strange. Stephen was trapped there for 12 hours, but he made his way back when Ned ended up actually having magic and used magic to open a portal. He then met two other versions of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but they were interrupted by Green Goblin, who blew up the device to send them all back. This opened splits in reality, which Strange was trying to hold closed with all of his strength, but it was beginning to get very difficult. Peter went over to him, however, and told him to make everyone forget who he was, as it was the only way. Stephen let him say his goodbyes, then cast the spell, making even he himself forget Peter altogether. A little while later, Stephen woke up from a dream where he and a girl named America Chavez were running from a monster, and when he tried to sacrifice her, he was killed by the monster. After waking up, he went to Christine's wedding, which was extremely difficult for him to watch. He tried to talk to Christine about them, saying he made sacrifices to protect her, but she said it would have never worked out between them. Strange told her he was happy, but deep down he knew he wasn't. The wedding was interrupted by a monster terrorizing New York City, and Strange jumped into action. He was surprised to see the girl he had dreamt about, and after he and Wong took the beast that was going after her, they all talked. America Chavez told them she had powers that allowed her to jump from one universe to another and how a demon was coming after her. She mentioned the Book of Bashanti being the only thing that could stop this demon. America then proved the dream that he had had last night was actually real, as she showed the dead body of that version of Strange, which this Strange buried. Stephen decided to pay a visit to Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, and after she slipped up saying America's name before he had told her what it was, he realized that she was the one going after Chavez. This was all in the hope that she could take America's powers to be with her two sons on another Earth. All three Sanctorums prepared for battle against Wanda, and while everyone else bowed to Wong as he was the Sorcerer Supreme, Stephen refused to do so, showing that he was still bitter that he was not chosen. Strange tried to reason with Wanda, but she refused to stand down. She ended up annihilating their troops, and Strange told everyone to fall back. He eventually came face to face with her and sent her into the mirror dimension, but she clawed her way out. Just as she was taking America's powers, America sent herself and Strange falling through different realities until finally ending up on Earth 838. They decided they had to find the Stephen Strange on that world for help, and when they went to the Sanctorum, they saw a statue of that world's Strange, which said he had died defeating Thanos and was Earth's mightiest hero. They were then met by that world's Mordo, which made Stephen hesitant given their past on Earth 616, but to his surprise, he was greeted with a hug from Mordo. However, he later drugged Stephen and America, and they woke up in a glass cell run by that world's Christine. Strange was soon brought before the Illuminati, meeting Mordo, Captain Carter, Blackguard, Mr. Fantastic, Captain Marvel, and Professor X. They told him how the Strange on their Earth used the Darkhold and began dreamwalking, causing the annihilation of another universe, so they took his life and lied to the public, hence the statue honoring him. Wanda then showed up, who was the Wanda from Earth 616 controlling the body of the Wanda from this Earth, and she killed the Illuminati. Stephen got that Earth's Christine to trust him, and together themselves and America ran to the entrance to the Book of Bashanti, a door that Earth's Strange had created, and the key to get in was the watch Christine had given him. Stephen got the book, but Wanda showed up destroying the page they needed, and she then sent Stephen and Christine to another universe, one that had been destroyed. They went to the Sanctum on that Earth where another version of Strange was, and after fighting this three-eyed Strange for the Darkhold, which was this epic musical duel, our Strange sent the three-eyed Strange flying out the window and he was impaled on the fence outside. Stephen then used the Darkhold to dreamwalk, possessing the dead corpse on Earth 616 that they had buried earlier, and after fighting the souls of the damned and weaponizing them, he made his way up to Wanda and America in the zombie body. America offered to give her power to Stephen to defeat Wanda, but unlike his other self who sacrificed her, he gave America the confidence she needed to master her powers. She embraced Stephen's words and began to stand toe-to-toe with Wanda. America then sent them to 838 Earth's Wanda and her kids, and with the instruction of Strange, she made Wanda realize that what she was doing was wrong. Wanda gave up and took down the tower that held the Darkhold spells, presumably killing herself. Stephen awoke in the destroyed Earth where Christine was. He then told her that he loved her no matter what universe they were on. He said he wanted to care for someone and wanted someone to care for him, but he was scared to let that happen. Christine then put a hand on his face and told him to face his fears. America then opened a portal and sent them both back to their respective Earths. Stephen stood by Wong's side as they fixed the damage that Wanda had made, and he finally bowed down to Wong, paying his respects to the Sorcerer Supreme. He then told Wong that he thought saving the world would make him happy, but it didn't. Strange started to go back to the New York Sanctum, but before he did, America stopped him to say goodbye, and they both agreed they were glad their paths met. When he returned, Stephen finally fixed the watch Christine had given him, which at this point had broken so many years ago. While walking with new confidence through the streets of New York, he felt some pain, fell to his knees, and a third eye on his forehead opened up. A little while later, Strange was again walking through New York, this time with two eyes, when a woman named Clea approached him, telling him he had caused an insurgent and they had to fix it. She then opened up a portal to the dark dimension and looked back at him saying unless he was afraid. At this, Strange opened that third eye on his forehead and agreed to go with her. And that's all we have on Strange's character so far, but the introduction of Clea is very interesting, because in the comics, she's the Sorcerer Supreme in the Dark Dimension, and Clea and Strange eventually marry in the comics as well, so that makes me very excited for what's to come in Doctor Strange's journey. But for now, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life, like my cute dog Loki, and some behind the scenes movie flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great movie flame videos on the way.